A giant whale lies motionless on the shore. Its body stretches more than 50 feet heavy and silent against the sand. Men gather around with long knives, their movements steady as they cut into the thick layers of skin and fat. The smell of salt and blood mixes in the air, sharp and overwhelming. Nearby, others bow their heads in prayer, their voices calm and measured. The contrast is striking. On one side, blades carving through red flesh. On the other, a ritual of respect and gratitude. For the villagers, this is more than food. It is survival, tradition, and belief bound together. Is this cruelty or a legacy passed down for centuries? To understand this paradox, we must return to the beginning, when whaling first became Japan's lifeline. If you are ready to follow this story-type whale, in the comments below to let us know. Japan is a nation of islands with little farmland and few natural resources. For centuries, survival depended on the sea. By the 1600s, coastal villages had already formed organized whaling teams. Their tools were simple wooden boats, long spears, and heavy ropes, but their coordination was precise, passed down through ritual and tradition. To them, a whale was more than an animal. It was a gift from the ocean, a massive source of meat, oil, bones, and sinew. A single catch could feed hundreds of people and supply vital materials for months. The smell of boiling blubber once filled entire villages, producing oil for lamps and cooking. Bones were ground into fertilizer, and tendons were used in crafts. Nothing went to waste. Whales also carried a spiritual weight. Shrines known as kujira were built to honor their souls. Priests led ceremonies offering prayers for safety at sea. In poems, paintings, and folklore, whales appeared as symbols of both life and sacrifice. This deep connection blurred the line between necessity and belief. It turned a hunt into heritage and survival into ritual. From here, the story moves from culture to the brutal reality of the chase itself. The process begins when a whale is spotted in open water. The ship moves quickly, closing the distance as the crew positions the harpoon gun. The weapon carries an explosive tip designed to strike near the chest or back. The goal is to bring the whale down fast, but in many cases the animal continues to struggle. Its tail hits the surface, the sea churns, and the noise carries across the water. When the whale finally goes still, heavy cables are attached to the body. A full-grown whale can weigh more than 100,000 pounds, so several ships or cranes are often needed to move it. Some are taken to shore, others to large processing vessels waiting offshore. Above, seabirds circle, drawn by the scent that spreads far across the waves. For the fishermen, this moment has always meant survival and food for entire communities. For critics, it shows unnecessary pain and conflict with modern views on animal welfare. What comes next is the most demanding step of all, the butchering of the whale itself. The butchering begins once the whale is secured. Crews line up along its massive body, knives in hand. The first task is to cut through the thick outer layer, sometimes more than a foot deep. Strips of blubber, each weighing hundreds of pounds, are lifted by cranes and boiled down to oil. The smell is heavy, a mix of salt, fat, and smoke. Beneath the blubber lies the dark red meat. Workers separate it carefully. The most tender cuts near the belly and fins are kept for sashimi. Firmer sections are boiled or stewed, while tougher parts are ground into sausage or used for pet food. Every pound has a purpose. The sound of blades against muscle echoes as the work continues. The organs are taken with equal care. A whale's liver is enormous, sometimes more than 500 pounds, and once provided vital vitamin A during the post-war years. The heart, stomach, and intestines are cleaned and prepared for local dishes or dried for storage. Even bones are ground into fertilizer, while large skulls are displayed in temples or museums. Blood is collected for industrial use. Nothing is wasted. To outsiders, the sight may appear brutal. To the fishermen, it reflects a philosophy of respect and necessity. Survival demands that every part of the whale serve a purpose. After the butchering, many villages held ceremonies. Local priests stood near the shore, leading prayers for the whale's spirit. The smell of salt and blood was still in the air, but the sound of chanting was calm and steady. These moments were seen as a way to show respect and ask for safety at sea. Shrines known as kujira were built along the coast. Some kept the skulls of whales placed at the entrance as symbols of survival and gratitude. The sight of these bones reminded people that the sea could provide, but it could also take away. For generations, families remembered times when a single whale saved entire villages from hunger. Its meat was shared, its oil stored, and its bones used. Elders passed down these stories, teaching that nothing should be wasted. Whaling was not only labor, but also a tradition tied to identity. This respect, however, always stood beside a harsher reality. The prayers were quiet, but the sand was still stained red. The rituals offered comfort, even as they marked the end of a life taken from the sea. The story now moves from these memories to the present day, where consumption and demand have sharply changed. In the years after World War II, whale meat became a staple for millions of Japanese families. At a time of severe shortages, it was one of the few reliable sources of protein. School lunches often included whale cutlets, and large warehouses stored tons of frozen meat to feed a hungry nation. Today, the picture is very different. Demand has dropped sharply. Younger generations show little interest in eating whale, and most urban markets rarely carry it. Surveys suggest that only a small fraction of the population consumes it regularly, yet the industry continues, supported by government subsidies and defended as a matter of cultural identity. Meanwhile, global whale populations remain fragile. Many species are still recovering from centuries of hunting, and scientists warn of slow reproduction rates. The result's a paradox. Cold storage facilities hold thousands of pounds of frozen whale meat, but the market grows smaller each year. From here, the debate no longer centers on hunger or necessity. It shifts to survival of the practice itself, caught between tradition and global concern. Japan continues to defend whaling as part of its cultural heritage and coastal livelihood. For many communities, the hunt represents continuity, linking present-day fishermen with ancestors who relied on the sea for survival. Skills passed from father to son are considered a form of pride, a proof of resilience in a harsh environment. The global view is far less sympathetic. Conservation groups describe whaling as cruel, pointing to long deaths and the intelligence of whales. Scientists stress that many species reproduce slowly and remain vulnerable after centuries of hunting. To them, the practice is unnecessary in a modern world with abundant alternatives. The International Whaling Commission banned commercial whaling in 1986, yet Japan withdrew from the body decades later, choosing to resume the practice under its own laws. Supporters frame this as a matter of sovereignty. Critics see it as a refusal to adapt to global standards of conservation. The contrast is powerful. In one moment, knives cut through red flesh on a crowded dock. In the next, villagers bow their heads in prayer for the very creature they have taken. This paradox defines the controversy. It is not only about food, it is about survival culture and the struggle between tradition and modern ethics. Japan now stands at a crossroads. One path leads toward preserving an ancient tradition, the other toward meeting global standards of conservation. The whale sits at the center of this struggle, both a cultural spirit and a vulnerable species in need of protection. Reverence is expressed through prayer, yet the same ritual follows blood on the sand. Respect and destruction move hand in hand. The question remains, does gratitude justify the taking of life? The story of Japanese whaling reveals a sharp tension between livelihood culture and conservation. On one side, the hunt reflects survival and tradition passed down through centuries. On the other, it collides with modern values that call for protection of life in the sea. The sound of knives on flesh, followed by prayers for the whale's spirit, captures this paradox in its purest form. What do you think about this legacy of survival and sacrifice? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more untold stories from the ocean.